Hello and welcome to this week's episode, Success Starts Within. Today we've got an amazing guest speaker and I can't wait to have a chat with her. Her name is Helen Thacker and she is a positioning expert who specialises in working with online coaches who know they are the best, but their public perception doesn't reflect the depth, precision or impact of their work. What she does best is transition their business model to consistently sell out one signature high-ticket offer that's so in demand that they get to select their clients instead of constantly chasing new ones, and positions themselves as the go-to for the one powerful transformation. So hello, Helen, and thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, thank you, Kirsty. What an intro. No, I'm really excited to be here. So thank you for having me.
No worries at all. I'd love to just get into it. We were talking just before we came on about what is one of the biggest things that you find that hold you back in business, and the stories that you tell yourself and what you hear your clients say as well about how they can't do certain things and how things are a struggle and how it makes them feel. Could you tell me what is the biggest limiting belief that you hear from your clients?
Okay, it is that they're comparing themselves to other people who are like them in their niche, and they're like, is what I am doing stand out enough? Is it enough? It's that whole, is it enough? Is it different enough? That belief that it is a saturated market. Of course it is, and there's no getting away from that. I'm very honest and direct. Like, it is a growing industry, thank goodness. This is a good thing. We're in an industry that is growing, and the online world is just opening up so many opportunities. But that idea that, oh my goodness, I'm now like just another one of many different people who do something similar or deliver a similar promise, similar result, and that idea that, okay, how on earth am I going to stand out? And that feeling of that frustration when they know they are so good. They come to the table, whether it's they're coming from corporate or another background, or they've been doing this for a long time, a few years in the industry, and they're like, I'm not still being seen. I'm not being recognized when I know I'm like so freaking good at what I do. And in that frustration of how are we going to overcome that when there's all this other stuff going on? How on earth, when you know deep down you're special, you know deep down you're incredible, but it's that frustration of they absolutely feel.
Yeah, and I find that as well. It's, as you say, they know that they are really good at what they do and they know that they can help so many women. But then when they start comparing themselves, that's when they start to feel really small and they
Yeah.
actually discredit their skills, discredit what they're able to do. And
Mm.
then I find that women say, well, actually, I should go and learn something else.
Yeah,
Maybe I should
yeah, I've
do
done
this.
more. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I need to do more, but you're just putting it off. And if you allow that mindset to control you, then you're never going to start anyway, or you're never going to do the thing that you want to do. But that is a really hard place to be when you are comparing yourself to other people.
It is hard and it is tough because there is so many options out there for our clients. And so, and I've been so guilty of this in the past, but what I see is that my clients come to me and they've completely overcomplicated things. Absolutely understandably, but what I do is the opposite. We pare everything back to what I call finding your unique industry advantage, the thing that we can commercially sell versus everyone else. We identify that, and I have a specific way that is rooted in your core beliefs, which is how we look at what that is and how then we can talk about that and position that. But what I tend to find is that people go out there and they look at other people's sales pages, offers, like, oh, so-and-so coach doing an $8 million a year, they are adding this skill in and they're offering this. And so I'm kind of doing something similar, so I better learn how to do that. And the knock-on effect, Kirsty, is huge because, and again, I've definitely experienced this where in a year, 2 years ago, I was adding all these other things that I honestly was not meant to do. They were not my best skill sets. They were like, I call the side dishes to my main course, which we really, really do just want to simplify down to one core problem you solve. That thing. And by adding on those other things that you try because you think, well, they've got that in their offer, they're doing this. Even the way they deliver, like, oh, you have to have more proximity, more time, but it's more usually down to skills. You end up with clients who are never going to get great results, or some clients don't get the best results because simply you're you've put yourself in a position, I'm actually going to do a post about this, you've put yourself in a position where you set up your business to not be as successful and deliver the success that it absolutely could, because you deviated off just because you were like, oh, am I enough? And it's so tough. And I promise you that whatever, and this is a hard lesson for me to learn, whatever the specific tiny little thing that you do, you can sell anything when you know how to sell it and it is enough. And anything other than that is going to absolutely take people into the realms of, I need to do all of these other things. And then, you know, it just affects the entire business, how you retain clients, how they get results, how they feel comfortable in your space. It really does impact everything. And so it takes, I mean, this is the work that you do that's so incredible. It takes a very, very strong amount of self-identity, self-belief that is enough. That is enough. And I'm just going to go down that path. I'm going to go all in, right?
Yeah, 100%. And as you were saying that, I repositioned myself, I don't know how many times.
Yep.
And I'm hearing it all the time from people. You know, I've changed my my ideal client like 3 or 4 times, and it's like you get that excitement, don't you? It's like this little cycle where you have this excitement. Yeah, you're like, oh yeah, no, actually, no, this is my ideal client now, and I'm going to do all of this content and all this work. And then what happens that when you go to kind of launch everything, that's when actually it doesn't feel as exciting as it was before. And then you go through that same cycle again. And that's just ultimately a subconscious belief that is stopping you from launching it, from growing and getting it out there. Because when you're getting out of your comfort zone, the subconscious mind just pulls you back and it makes you think things like, well, actually, no, this isn't good enough. You just end up like going round in circles and not doing anything. But I love the work that you do and the fact that you're like one offer. There's, as you said, so many people are like, let's have all these different offers and all these different things. But actually, if you could really put all of your efforts into like one really shit hot offer and get it out there. And as you say, like in the work that you do, it's like, this is the go-to and this is why me. And I love that you promote that, because that really just allows people to be quite specific. And in terms of working on like their subconscious mind, they can think about the beliefs that are stopping them from actually launching it. I'm not explaining it very well. What I mean is, rather than having all these different things going on, you're like, right, let's put all of my energy into one area and I can work on the subconscious beliefs that around this, rather than if you're trying to spread yourself too thin. I feel that all these other stories come in at the same time.
Yeah, no, you're so right, Kirsty. It's so true. And I have a couple of other different offers, but, you know, I keep it very, very small. But for me, it's all around that one core offer of excellence. I call it an offer of mastery. That's what I help my clients to create, because it's based around this unique industry advantage, your genius, that's very specific to you, that's very different from everyone else out there in your industry, as it were, or providing something similar. Because I know that if you want to have people who want to invest premium prices with you, like high ticket investments, those clients are looking for levels of expertise. They are looking for depth, proximity. They're looking for you to go into their lives, their businesses, their relationships, whatever it is, and go deep in order to get a bigger and more powerful transformation. And so, yeah, if you can focus that is, and create an offer like that, that's how you're going to get people to invest in you. Premium pricing without question. You know, I do get some price objections, but not really. Usually by that time, my content and the way that I present myself, conviction is another thing. We can go down that path, because this is a side kind of benefit of the work. It's when you have that conviction, when you have that belief and you have that very specific expertise, like, people will pay because they know. And so, yeah, it is very, very, very focused, especially now. There is a lot of competition, and so if you can go all in on one thing, like you said, yeah, you're going to be able to put all your focus into that. And yes, I completely agree. How much more confidence are you going to have in yourself if you can start to really just create this incredible place where people are getting great results, and you know, you're in your zone, right? You're in that alignment. Everything feels easy. It's, you know, we all want to have business that feels fun and light, and that we're doing the thing we're here to do, right? And that's you're so right, and I agree with it. That's what happens.
Yeah, completely. We are doing business for the same reason. It's freedom over our time. And we do get very much stuck in, I find, like doing all the time. And I
Mm.
was reading on your Instagram, I love that your non-negotiables, like you don't work in the evenings. You're like laptop gets closed. And I want to
Real
talk more about
Housewives and a glass of red wine.
And I want to talk more about that
Yeah.
because I know, and I'm talking for myself as well, and the other listeners, we're working on our laptops every single night because there just isn't enough time. Well, we tell ourselves there's not enough
Mhm.
time, and the result of that is this just constant pushing and could reach to burnout for some people. And a lot of us are like mums as well, and we're
Yeah.
trying to juggle that at the same time. But can you tell me the boundary that you put in place to turn your laptop at 5 o'clock, was that easy to do, or did you have to do your own inner work to get there?
Okay, so here's the deal, Kirsty. The way I operate my business and the way that I'm able to do that is simply because I am very, very good at repurposing my content. If you look through my content, it's pretty much the same stuff over and over and over again. I cut and paste like a mad thing, right? I'm like literally, I make things easy. I'm very, very good at that. The other thing is, and this is where like your kind of work comes in, I honestly, truly believe when you know and you're in your lane, you've found what it is that you know you are so good at, you go all in on it, you know how to talk about it, the conviction that you have makes life so much easier. Honestly, I can go and pick up my phone now, I can go in the kitchen right now and I could create 10 TikToks, 10 reels, like boom, boom, boom. The content flows out of you. And so the speed at which you're able to move enables you to, like, you do not have to be working all hours God sends. Absolutely, because you just, everything feels easier. And the fact that, like, you'll probably want to explain this better, the fact that everything feels and is easier, like there's just this joy in your life that you just start to indulge in. You can put work to one side, you can like prioritize, and we could all work 24/7. Like there is no limit, we could all be creating content, there's always something we could do, right? There's always something we can do. But I think for me, the moment when I realized that there is always something I could literally not stop if I wanted to. And so about, I don't know, 4 years ago, I was like, no, I'm not. But prior to this, when I was in a previous business, I was like, no, I'm not. I'm just not going to do that because, yeah, and then obviously as I've got better and better at my own skill set, it's just enabled me to work faster, to serve my clients better. I don't have any frills, any fluff, any side things. It's like I'm in my lane and go, go, go. This is the one specific core problem I solve, and I just talk about it on repeat. Content creation is easy, delivering offers is easy, serving my clients is easy. It all feels so freaking easy because it is, because I've not been afraid to do that. And it takes some bravery, and trust me, I have definitely learned the hard way. I was 3 years ago, I was heading for burnout big time, not from the overworking at night, but it is, if you find that thing and you can go all in, everything else, you just feel this spaciousness.
Yeah, I love that. And that is what I call the main character.
Yes.
So that's what I teach is women to step into that main character identity. And part of that, like you say, is just knowing what you do is fucking awesome and having that confidence to just go for it. Like you say, stay in your lane, just keep going, and that the clients will come with you. But what you said there, I think was really interesting because I was completely gone out of my mind. Yeah, what you were saying there about just having that one offer just makes it, or just having your one core offer,
Yeah.
just makes it so much easier. You don't overcomplicate things, and we are so bad at overcomplicating
We want to
things.
give more, don't we? We want to give so much.
No.
We're people pleasing, aren't we? Especially as women. I don't want to stereotype, but it's so true.
It's our societal conditioning. We do want to give more, but actually just keeping it very simple and having the confidence, stepping into those main character shoes where you're like, this is what I sell. This is how I can help people, and the way that you do it makes it so much easier. But I hear quite a lot. I feel so repetitive, like people, they're going to get bored of hearing me saying the same things. But as I remind people, not everybody's watching your content, not everybody's reading it, not everybody's listening to it, not everybody is taking it in the first time. So what do you say to people when they say to you, yeah, but if I just pick my one message or, you know, my one thing, and I'm repeating myself all the time, like what advice do you give them?
Good, do it. Okay, here's the thing, right? You have to have, no matter what it is that you do, if people come into your world and the way that you help people and the way you transform their lives, you know, there can be multiple things that results in. Like with your work, it's incredible, Kirsty. Like there are lots of ways that your work changes your clients' lives, right? It's amazing. But if you pick your one entry point for your marketing and you go all in on that, you become known for that. You become known for that. And so you put this on repeat. You combine, like basically you find the core problem that you solve, you look at the core belief behind why your work works, and your methodology behind it. Now, you're going to talk about that on repeat. You're going to become known for, right, I go to Kirsty for solving X problem. This is the thing Kirsty becomes known for. People come to me because they don't feel like they're being visible enough, they're not seen enough, and they're not chosen. They're still one of many options. Like, they want to be the one that, when they come onto their content, they're like, I need to pick Kirsty because above everything else I was thinking about, she hears me, she understands me, I have to invest, like, and I will pay whatever to get that. And so that's the core problem I solve. I explain why the unique industry advantage is the thing that, you know, is going to help you do that. I explain it logically, and that's what we do. And all I do is I go at that from different angles. So yes, just to explain why, while I'm putting it on repeat, you also have to come at it from all these different angles. So for example, what are the things that your ideal clients currently are trying in order to get the result that they are looking for? Let's talk about this one. Now let's talk about this one. Let's talk about the other things that are the different thoughts, the different beliefs that they have around those things. Like coming at it from all the different ways they are experiencing that problem and all the different things they are trying to do to solve it and all the different beliefs they have around that. All roads lead to that one thing that you then become known for. That's how we get you seen, that's how we get you known, that's how we get you chosen. But at the same time, you can vary your content, but it's got to be channeled down that route, because otherwise you will start sounding so vague. You will start sounding, well, you know, Kirsty can help me with this and she can help me with that. I could talk about all kinds of things. I could talk about the conviction that I give you when, you know, blah, blah, blah. There's lots of other things. I call it the broccoli versus the chocolate. You have to find the chocolate. When you find that and you go for it, you will become known, because like you quite rightly said, not everyone sees your content. So you have to repeat, repeat, repeat. Yeah, you don't have to become bored of it, but you just have to say the same message over and over again in various different ways from different marketing angles, you know, different kind of approaches of content types. But it's just, yeah, that is how you are going to become known. Repetition. You think of all the big brands, the simple brands, like they keep it simple. They're known for one thing, like Coca-Cola, it's the red bottle, it's the Coke. Just to, you know, for example, you think of Gucci, it's luxury, it's a thing about it that they're known for. You know, all of these things, like they might provide other things, but actually we're going down that one route, and that's what you remember about them. And that's the aim of your marketing, is to do that. And it's picking that lane and going for it. And like, yeah, I'm going to get bored, I'm going to say the same thing. You can still have fun though. You can still have fun creating content. Like, you know, get creative, like go and do some green screens, go and do some visuals, go and do some funky analogies, go and do some like dancing around the kitchen, go do whatever, then do a carousel. Like you can still have fun with it. The message has definitely got to be on repeat big time.
Yeah, and I say the exact same to my clients, like go and have fun. Yes, like you say, the message is the same, but do it in different ways. Think of different ways to explain it as well, because I find a lot of people try to explain it in one way, and it's like, but people understand things differently, so you can actually be very creative with it, and then that makes it more fun for you as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I think a lot of clients come to me and they're like, but I do all these different things, you know, am I going to what you know, why am I minimizing my skills? Like, am I going to be basically closing doors because people will see that I'm not talking about this or not talking about that, and I can do those things? Like, no, you've got to be known for one thing, and it's really backed in your belief, backed in the belief you have around why your work works. Because when you can explain that, people are like, that makes sense. You've explained it to me, why that identity work, why your approach to that is so important versus everyone else. And suddenly they're like, okay, yeah, that makes sense, I'm so in, like, of course I'm going to invest. Yeah,
no, definitely. It's it's hard in business sometimes, isn't it? Like, you think that you've got to have all these things and you overcomplicate it. But, having this conversation with you now, like, I'm hoping that the listeners are going to be like, actually, I can keep things a lot more simple. And when you keep it more simple, then that's when you have a much more regulated nervous system. You're not in that like fight or flight, which obviously a lot of us are, because you're just kind of using one thing. You're using one message, kind of like content angle, and it just means that people, their nervous system a bit more calm, rather than thinking, I need to do this extra, I need to start adding this on, which is what people do. And that's part of like what our subconscious mind makes us believe when things are kind of going, when we're feeling a bit stretched.
Yeah, and you put your creativity into your offers and into your clients. That's been the biggest joy for me, is like actually creating like an incredible space inside, because you can, when you've got like the focus is now all of those other things are like ticked off. Imagine how you can now put all your creativity into serving your clients, all the different things you can do to help them. That's where the fun and the creativity and the nuances happen, and that's where you can serve them with depth and with a very bespoke personal approach, where you're really getting to know them. And it really is that, like that. You're just thinking about your marketing about as a channel for bringing people in. Once they're inside your world, it's like it can be like a great creative place. But keeping things simple, I am absolutely massive fan of. And it's absolutely possible, I promise. For anyone listening, it's just getting rid of the fluff and just accepting, like, listen to what Kirsty's telling you all on these podcasts and whatever, that, it's that being solid in who you are, that identity, being confident enough in that, and knowing you are enough. And I promise the conviction that comes alongside that and how you show up then in your marketing is the thing that is going to be your biggest selling power.
Yeah, I mean, God, you only have to go on your Instagram to see like how successful you've been using the method that we've spoken about today. So yeah, if you are listening, you're thinking, but actually, like you say, I'm pigeonholing myself. Yes, as you say, become the person known for that particular thing. And I know that I have been guilty of that in the past, of trying to create too many offers or talk about so many different parts of my business. But actually, I've really niched down recently. And you're right, it feels good. It's like, I know that I've got this one kind of core message. Obviously, I'd be creative with it, but having that core message is like, I don't have to think of anything else. And you can, as you say, you do start to get quite creative with your content and you can play with it. But ultimately, like, the North Star is like what you always go for.
Absolutely. No, you're so right. No.
So we're getting towards the end. So I just wanted to ask you a couple of questions. Are there a couple of tips that you would like to give our listeners about something that you support your current clients with? So I know you work with a lot of high achieving women. Is there any tips that you would like to give any of the listeners that would help them whilst they're on their business journey at the moment?
Oh gosh, there's so many things. Okay, I think we've covered so much already, like all the little things. Like, you've asked some amazing questions and I think that's brought out a lot of things, but the thing that's always served me most, and I think is often a big challenge as well, and I know this is where your work comes in, is like just going back to being honestly true to who you are and not trying to be anyone else. I have absolutely made that mistake and it's held me back so much. And the minute I released that and I was like, okay, I'm okay. I'm good enough as myself. It's not necessarily a skill thing. It's like, it's a combination of things that can look different, can appear in many different ways. But being yourself, I hate the word authentic, but honestly, in terms from just a business strategic point of view, that is how you're going to soar. And the other thing I would say is just to take massive leaps. Like, I've always made, I don't know why, but I've never been afraid to make big leaps before, like, I've seen the evidence. And I think, like, jumping forward into big leaps is the way that's definitely got me to where I am right now. And I would encourage everyone to just, like, what's the worst that can happen? What's the worst that can happen? You will figure it out. And I think that's the two things that I would say. I would kind of hope I would leave you with.
Yeah, don't wait to be confident. The confidence comes from the doing.
So true. I love that. Yes. Love
Yeah,
that.
and people do. They're like, I'll be ready when. It's like,
Hmm.
no, just one of the pillars of my method is called just do the fucking thing. Because it's
Love
like,
it.
just do it,
Uh,
and then the confidence is going to follow. And it's proving to yourself that I can do it. And once you do it, I always say to people, when you go to a water park on holiday and
yeah.
there's always like the
Oh,
top
scary slides.
slide
Yeah.
and you're there and you're like, I don't want to, I don't to. But when you do it, you're at the bottom. You're like, that was amazing. I want to do it again. It's that anticipation of what
Hmm.
you think is going to happen. As you
Yeah.
say, nothing bad is going to happen. And actually, it builds resilience as well, which is something that, all of us in business need to have, is that real strong resilience. But it's also, I teach women to have that relationship with, I don't call it failure, but with challenges and setbacks.
Learning. Yeah.
It's like have that relationship with it, see it as growth,
Mm.
and you are going to be able to take these steps and say yes to these things a lot easier
Yeah.
than procrastinating and not and kind of thinking about it and not doing it, because the confidence always comes in the action.
Yeah, you feel so good afterwards. I love that. Hmm.
Yeah, you do. But thank you so much for joining us today. Could you just tell us, where can we find you, please?
Yeah, thank you, Kirsty. It's been amazing. I've loved this conversation. You can go and find me on Instagram. I'm sure you'll put the links and everything. It's just my name, Helen Thacker. On Instagram, please come and say hi in the DMs. It's just me. Yeah, I don't have a team in there. And I love to chat. I love to find out what people do and tell me all the things. So, yeah, don't be afraid to come and say hi if you're listening.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for listening to it, everybody. And I will speak to you next week. Bye.